What's up, everybody? Danielus Racing 35 here. I am doing work for a friend on a 2004 Ford Ranger four-wheel drive. It's got a 4.0 V6 automatic transmission. I'm listening to the race on the radio. I'm doing front shocks and brakes. I'm waiting for a part to arrive, but there is my tools. I got knee pads because I got bad knees. There's the old rotor. I've already done the right side, or sorry, the left side, the driver's side, but this video is going to be how to diagnose a bad shock. There are many ways to do it, but I'm going to use this car, which I know has a bad left front shock. Not a right front, a bad left front. I don't know why. Well, actually, it makes sense because more of the weight is on the left side because of the driver. But I'm going to turn down the radio.
Iced coffee from a convenience store when you can enjoy the convenience of Wendy's drive-thru.
Wendy's. I like Wendy's. I frequent Wendy's a lot. Me and Wendy are tight, yo. So basically, what's going to happen is I'm going to bounce the rear end of this car up and down, like people were doing it, and I'm going to let it go. And you see how it almost stops immediately? You bounce it, and it stops. That's the shocks doing its work. The shock absorbers level out the suspension. Well, they don't level it out. They don't control ride height. The shock absorbers keep the suspension from, or the spring, from bouncing. Because what happens is the spring is for ride height. The shock absorber smooths out the motion. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to bounce it. Well, you're not going to be able to see. I'm going to bounce the car here in the front, and then I'm going to stop. And how it kind of keeps moving, it keeps moving, but it moves more so on the left side. So I'm going to move over to this side. I'm going to bounce it. See how it keeps going? That's how you know the car has a bad shock. If you bounce the car and it keeps moving after it initially comes back up. So over here, I have the two shocks that I took off of this truck. This one right here was the driver's side. This one was the passenger side. The only one that I thought was no good was the passenger side, which is this one. I probably should switch them. The reason they are mangled is because I had to use a C-clamp to crush them because the nut here is stripped. There's usually a nut welded to the top, so you can put a nut here, and then there's another nut that happened to break off that goes right there under a bushing, or on top of a bushing. So I had to crush this and then use vice grips to hold it right here, and then go at it with a wrench up there, and it ended up breaking off, as you can see. But what happens is, this is the passenger side. This is the one that came off the passenger side, and then this is the one that came off the driver's side. With a new strut, this is a new strut. If you push it down, it's kind of difficult to push. Like, I'm pushing down and it won't go. With this one, I know this one's no good. Not only watch this. I'm going to push it with one arm, easy, and it goes right down. I can't go any down anymore because it's crushed. But if I grab onto it, I can pull it right back up, and look, there's shiny again. And I'm not pushing hard at all, and it goes right back down. This one is not as damaged, or not as fucked up, not as, gone as that one was. Because this one I can push down. I can still push it down, but if I let it go, it goes right back up. If you have the shock out of the car, you can test that way. If you can push it down really easy, then it's either for a Cadillac or it's bad. This concludes my broadcast. Well, it's not really a broadcast, more of a vlog. But anyways, I hope this helps. I do not know, well, I do know how with a strut, because that car has struts, this has shocks. But with a strut, it's basically the same thing. If you have a strut with the spring off of it, because you can't compress the spring with your hands, because that's not only dangerous to attempt, but, you know, unless you're Hercules, I don't think that's going to happen. But you take something and you push on the top of the strut, and if you can push it down easily, then it's probably no good. If you can't push it down easily, or, you know, it takes a decent amount of effort, then you should have a decent shock. But that's new, that's old, that's really old. Well, actually, that's the worst one. So that's new, that's old, that's really old. And, yeah. Great success. Oh, another thing. People, when you put bolts in to, like, a brake caliper or a brake caliper bracket, please, 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 please use anti-seize. There's no anti-seize on this. That's thread locker. There's no anti-seize. I had to use... First I tried to get at it. That's a 15 mil bolt. I tried to get at it with my socket, ended up rounding off and breaking my socket. So I need a new 15 socket. And then I went at it with my wrench, and my wrench got stripped. So I had to resort to one of those sockets that cut into the bolt with a reverse thread direction to get it out. This is a new one over here. It's already got thread sealer installed, but I have a friend who's bringing me new parts, and he's got a thing of anti-seize because I ran out on the bolts yesterday. So please, when you put bolts, heavy bolts that you have to torque down really good, please use anti-seize. Please.